Hey, yo, it's that time in the show when we like to take a little survey. So is there anybody here that came to see that red hot black and white express? Survey says one more for the good guys.
Welcome to Fantasy Kingdom. I'm your host, Mikey, and as always, ride with me shotgun. My boy Howie, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Happy playoff week.
Uh-oh.
As it's normally playoffs for most leagues start today, and some of them started last week, but not too bad. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good.
Ready, rock and roll.
Yeah,
Look through some studs and duds.
My fat Thor shirt on.
There we go. Woo. Okay. I don't have the Josh Allen okay to Tommy, or I would do it.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into the studs and duds, and then we'll get into what's going on this week around football. Week 14 studs at quarterback. We had Lamar Jackson, Stafford, and Ritter. Ritter was a stud for the first time this year.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then our honorable mentions for the studs are three you just never would have thought of: Jake Browning, Joe Flacco, and Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, Bailey. Really thought.
Tommy's best friend, Bailey Zappi.
Yeah.
That's a running joke here. Tommy loved his Bailey Zappi. Our running backs, we had Ezekiel Elliott. He led the way last week, had a return of 4 years ago when Zeke was the top dog.
Yeah, he's looking good lately. With Stevenson out, it opens the door for him. So.
It does. Breece Hall and James Cook were the other two.
Yeah.
It was cool to see Breece Hall get going. It was cool to see the Jets actually have some kind of life after just a dead season.
Yeah.
It'll be even cooler if we could see the Jets go ahead and beat the Dolphins this week for us. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
In the honorable mention, we had Saquon, Moser, and White. White's just been a revelation this year. He's just been doing things that no one expected. Started off very slow.
Yeah.
Then they started getting him in the passing game, and he really took off in a PPR league.
He was my number one pick. Of course.
And what round?
30. Well, I picked number 31.
Yeah.
And he was the first pick I made. So.
Yeah. So that's what happens. You trade all your early draft picks.
I dropped him, and you picked him up, and you dropped him, and I picked him back up. So.
Yeah. Well, I picked him up, and then I played him I think one time, and it just never really panned out for me.
Yeah, now they're finally using him.
And then Jonathan Taylor came off of PUP, so I was like, okay, it's time to bring him back. So I dropped him. Yeah, Schmitty comes in and asks a question and says, Ayuk or Olave? Ooh, that is a great question. I'll let you start with that one.
I have Olave. And actually, today I benched him for Mixon in the flex position because he's been ill and he's got a little bit of an ankle issue. Last week, if he wouldn't have got that one saving touchdown, he would have got me maybe 5 points. So he is
going against the Giants at home.
Yeah.
But the 49ers are going against the Cardinals. Olave is the wide receiver one.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Ayuk is boom or bust because of Samuel and McCaffrey and Kittle. Right. So I would probably go Olave over Ayuk just from the odds.
Right. Well, the odds fine, yeah. But like I said, Olave has led the team in everything, but he's just not – they're not getting it to him, And I love the guy. I'll probably keep him.
He's probably a juicy matchup this week, though. Against the Giants?
I hope so, but every time I go against the Giants, I get killed.
Yeah.
So,
but this isn't about you; it's about him. So, if it was me, I would go Olave, just playing the odds. If it's an Ayuk game a day, then yeah, it could be big. But you got a 1 in 3 shot. That it's gonna be an Ayuk day. That's the problem with the 49ers weapons. They have so many.
Right. It's tough to feed everybody.
Yep.
And you would think that it would be easier to feed Olave because everybody else is hurt, but that has not been the case. So, flip a coin if you have to. I mean, Olave's one of my keepers. I'll probably keep him next year. But right now, he's just hit and miss.
Okay. All right, let's finish going through this. From a wide receiver standpoint, we had Deebo Samuels, Drake London, and DJ Moore. Man, every time I see DJ Moore pop up, I think about the trade. Now he just came up on him. Yep.
And I got a 3rd-round pick out of the deal, so that's okay.
And Laporta, which helped.
And Laporta.
But did he really? Because Ingram, who was your tight end, was the top tight end last week.
So. I know.
So, honorable mention for wide receivers, we had Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, and Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, I just love that kid, that rookie wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Somebody who's definitely on my radar for our keeper league next year, as someone I'll be looking, mid rounds for, because I think he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah.
For the tight ends, our studs are Ingram, Njoku. Man, did Njoku have a day.
Oh, he looked great, didn't he?
Yes. He made Flacco look like a young Flacco.
Yeah. Flacco's getting all kinds of, press now.
He is. So, yeah. We'll see if he can keep it up, though. That's the problem. He looked good for 2 weeks, so see how it continues. And then Isaiah Likely, they finally got him involved in the Andrews role, and he looked really good last week. Honorable mention for the tight ends, we had Hunter Henry, Kittle, and then the rookie LA Rams tight end who hadn't played all year, Davis Allen, because they were down their top 2 tight ends, so they went to the young rookie, and he just tore it up. Stafford can use anybody. Stafford's just one of those guys. On the duds, we had Justin Herbert, who got hurt, CJ Stroud, who got hurt, and then Jeff Goff, who just struggled outdoors in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
All right. Got another one to come in from Youngstar 210, Mafia Sports Report. Which defense do I start this week? Vikings, Packers, or Saints? Well, you can't go with Vikings because they're playing right now.
Yeah.
So Packers or Saints?
Yeah.
Let's see. Who does the Packers play? Who do the Packers play? Do you know who the Packers play this week?
I don't have it written down right now.
Oh, they got Tampa Bay this week. So, or the Saints got the Giants. I'm probably going the Saints because Tommy DeVito is just prime for one of his turnover games. He's had a couple of really good games. The Saints defense is really good. I'm probably going with the Saints this week.
Yeah, I would go with the Saints this week.
All right. So let's continue moving through. The duds, the dishonorable mentions. We had Hurts, Tua, and Love. Man, what's going on with that Eagles offense?
I don't know. They're not scaring anybody anymore.
No,
and I don't think they're using Swift enough.
Do you think that's what it is? Is they've just gone away from that run game?
Kind of got away from them, and I don't know why. Did they go and pick up your offensive coordinator?
I don't know, because that's one thing that we see a lot of is when teams get out of rhythm, they go away from what was working.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get it. I don't get it either. I've got another question that came in. It says Chuba Hubbard, or Antonio Gibson at flex. Ooh, I like that.
Hubbard's been getting a lot more play.
Mm-hmm. They're going against the Falcons. So who is Washington? Washington's going against the Rams. I'm probably going Chuba.
Yeah.
I'm going Chuba. Chuba Hubbard is probably the guy who I'm going to go with this week. Gibson is the RB2. Chuba is the RB1. Brian Robinson's is getting more and more of the bulk of the carries.
Robinson's out this week.
Is he out this week? So Gibson. But who do you trust more? So this comes down to the question: who do you trust more?
Well,
do you like the Rams defense more, or do you like the Falcons defense more? Me, I think Aaron Donald and company is still scary. I'm probably going Chuba against the Falcons.
Yeah, I just don't know how much Hubbard's going to get. And Falcons are tougher than you think.
Well, it's not that. Falcons are on the road. Falcons are on the road. So Chuba's at home, and Gibson's on the road in LA.
Right.
So that also plays into it as well. So I would go Chuba, but go with your gut. That's what we always say.
Yeah.
Nice. He says, "Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I just made the playoffs, but next week the Packers go against Carolina. Do I start them next week? Yes. You always start your defense.
Right, against Carolina. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what's next.
And congratulations on making the playoffs.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, this
That's
is
awesome.
What's this for us? Let's see. For me, it's 4 years in a row now.
Yeah,
For you, it's got to be about 6, right?
6 or 8, something like that. It's been a while since I've been out. Thank you for the follow. We're here every week during the fantasy season. We'll do something cool in the off season too, and bring some fantasy stuff. Saints go against the Rams. Yeah, I would probably go with Chuba. That's just my gut. All right, so let's finish up the studs and duds from last week. The running backs, we had Jacobs, Harris, and Warren were the main duds. Walker the third and Dillon were the dishonorable mentions. Lots of injuries there is the reason why they dudded out. Outside of Harris and Warren, those guys, that Pittsburgh offense is just odd. You don't know what you're getting week to week. Wide receivers, Evans, Collins, and Judy. Dishonorable mention, Jefferson. The return of Justin Jefferson lasted very short. As Dobbs left him to freaking hang out there to get crushed. And then Addison and St. Brown. What's going on with St. Brown?
It's like
again they stopped using him.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden he fell off the planet. Well, even their whole passing game last week. Laporta didn't do anything last week. They went back to the run game. They got Gibbs and Montgomery, and they're focusing on that run game. And I don't know why. I mean, Goff can't hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
I don't get it unless they got something going on with the offensive line.
Well, their center's returning this week.
Yeah, that'll help.
I do know that, so that will help because he's your captain on that offensive line, and they're getting that with the last outdoor game they had was last week. So the rest of the games this year will be indoors, which Goff's much better indoors than he is outdoors.
Yeah, the indoor cat.
Yep, and then tight ends, dishonorable mention tight ends. We had Johnson from the Saints, who he's become unreliable to even start anymore. Laporta, Goddard, Kincaid, and Otten. So that
was a bad week for tight ends.
It was Well, it was a bad week for really known tight ends. If you had Ingram or Njoku or those guys, yeah, it's great. But those guys who've been carrying you all year, the Laportas and Kincaid's been fantastic all year, and there was nothing. Then you had a bunch of guys who sat right in the middle. Like all the elites, like Kelsey and all those guys sat, between 10 and 15 points, this week. It was an odd week last week. I'm hoping for a better one as we've entered our playoffs. And I would hate to be like last year where I did so well and then get in the playoffs and just dud out in the first round.
Yeah. Well, we got beat by the same guy last year.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah.
A big old jerk.
Luckily, I did make it to the Super Bowl last year.
You did. All that meant is you got a worse pick than me.
I got another second place. One more, and I'm changing my team's name to the Bills.
Stop it. Stop it right now before I put you on timeout. Go Vikings. Yes, go Vikings. We need the Vikings to win to help the Bills. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So when we're looking at some of the games, we looked at Thursday night's game where we had the Raiders who just put a whooping on the Chargers, right? Well, we knew that they were going to struggle a little bit, the Chargers, because they were without Herbert, and it was Easton Stick. But I did not see a 63 to 20 something drubbing. At one point, it was 63 to 7 in the fourth quarter.
Well, it was 43 to nothing at half.
Yeah,
I was like, and I had Eckler, and he got me 7 points, and he was in the whole game.
Yeah,
he didn't get hurt. I thought he must have got hurt.
He got a first down.
He had 9 rushing yards.
He got a first down in the third quarter, and he got up and he did the big first down sign. I'm like, dude, you're down like 50 points. What are you doing? just
Pitiful.
I'm like, I don't
Pitiful.
understand some of these guys sometimes. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Tommy comes in. Thank you, Tommy. Made the playoffs in 2 leagues. One I have a bye week. The other I play this weekend. Good luck, brother.
Good job.
You know, do you have Josh Allen in both leagues? Tell me that, Tommy. And if you do have Josh Allen, did you take him in the first round? Because that's the question. That's the real question. I have Josh Allen in both of my leagues. I'm in the playoffs in both of my leagues. He's like, yes, yes, he did. Give Josh Allen, he makes the playoffs. Yes and yes.
That's
You know, hey, I mean, he gets the most fantasy points of anybody throughout the year. So.
yeah, he does. I mean, it's hard, and especially if you're in a 10 or 12 team league and you take your quarterback first round. I mean, you kind of got to, but then how do you fill in the rest of your team? You know.
Well,
so,
Tommy's obviously done well enough. He's made it in 2.
Yeah, no, I'm in 2. I lead in
I'm
one.
in 2.
I lead in one, and I'm in 3rd place in another. So
I lead in 1, and I'm in 2nd place in the other.
that's right behind me.
Yeah,
yeah, we've been mirroring each other the last few years. So
you would think, you know, we do a fantasy show together, and we kind of have an idea of what each other are gonna do.
Well, maybe the crowd, you know, we've been together. We've been doing this league for 20 years now, and both of us have four Super Bowls, and we're both vying for number 5. You know, it's
one for the thumb.
Yep.
And we're hoping one of us gets it this year. And when I say one of us, I mean me.
Well, if I can't have it, I hope we get new blood in there, because we got a couple of guys who haven't won it in a long time.
Okay, so
it'll be good for the league.
So I guess I'm hoping you don't make the Super Bowl then. Is that what I'm hoping?
I'm hoping. Well, if I don't make the Super Bowl, I'm hoping that we play each other for 3rd and 4th place.
Got a question from Youngstar saying, "Hey, do you guys think Gus Edwards is a good RB2 next to Saquon, or should I start Algier?" So let's see, who is the Ravens playing this week? Ravens have who? Ravens have Jags. Jags have a good defense.
Yeah, let's see.
Gus is the goal line back.
Algier's playing against Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And Spears,
but they've been using Bijan more than they've been using Algier.
Right. And then Spears, let's see. Taylor's coming back next week, from what I understand.
Yeah.
With the thumb injury.
Yeah, I heard that.
So they'll probably, use Spears a little heavier this week. But who are they playing? They're playing it the second game.
You're saying Spears, Tennessee.
Oh, is Spears Tennessee? I thought he was for the Colts. I'm sorry.
No. Zach Moss is the Colts.
Oh,
so he's saying Gus Edwards or Algier.
I like Edwards.
Yeah, I would probably go Edwards too. I don't know. Algier is kind of a hit and miss prospect. He early on they used him a lot, but they've been using Bijan more and more. So I would probably go with Edwards this week.
Yeah.
Tommy comes in and says Allen, Mostert, Curran, Williams, Diggs, Metcalf, Samuel, Njoku, Bass, Bills. That's his bye week team. That's a good team. Mostert and Curran Williams is killing it.
Yeah.
Then having Diggs, Metcalf, and Debo. Damn, how'd you get that team?
Did you get in a league with a bunch of suckers again, Tommy?
That's a good team.
That's a very good team.
I see why you have the bye week.
Yeah.
His other team, he has Allen, Harris, Moss, Cooper, Diggs, Higgins, Kincaid, Bass, Bills. Okay. Still loves his Buffalo Bills.
His running game's a little weaker, a lot weaker than the other league he's in, but
Moss is good with Taylor out, but once Taylor returns, you're in trouble.
Right. And Harris is
Yeah.
Cooper is
I like your receivers.
Yeah.
Cooper, Diggs, and Higgins. I like that team, Tommy. It looks good.
Boy, Higgins missed an easy one early in the game today.
Did he?
Oh, it was right there. Boom, off his hands.
Oh.
I said, that's why they don't start you.
That's why who doesn't start him? Anybody?
Oh,
that's great. All right, so let's just jump into some games, today's games, right? So we have the Vikings Bengals going on now. We have the Steelers Colts that are coming up next. That game is just, what do you get? What Steelers teams do you get? What Colts team do you get? I have no idea.
I know the fans in Pittsburgh are getting a little tired of, well, we got over 500 again. It's like, what, let's, they're not going to be happy much longer.
You realize the Pittsburgh Steelers fans are a bunch of crybabies. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. They've always been over 500.
Right, but at some point, being over 500 is like kissing your sister.
I don't have. I would never want to kiss my little sister.
I'm just saying, it's like, well, yeah, we had a winning season. Well, that's great, but when's the last time you brought home some hardware? It's been a while. I mean, they've got what?
It's hard to say I'm going to bring home hardware when you have Kenny Pickett as your quarterback.
What are you going to do?
When you're going up against the Burrows and the Allens and the Mahomes and the Jacksons.
Yeah.
And then you have that next level where it's you have like Trevor Lawrence and those guys, that are up and coming, So I honestly, the fans can be upset. But until they get a better quarterback, I just don't see them going anywhere. And the sad part is they're wasting an elite defense.
Well, and
like
the
Jets.
Yeah, and that's the problem with coming in middle of the pack. You don't get the premier draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like being a Redskin fan.
Yeah.
You're always you're always in there around 12, 13 or something, and you're never going to get I don't know. Hey, phone died.
Yep. So Youngstar didn't hear our question, didn't hear our answer. So we both said Edwards. Go with Edwards. Yeah. It's the better play. Because Algier, you're never quite sure how much he's going to be.
And they're going to use Gus.
Yeah. Ooh, those are just an interception. Nice catch. Defensive lineman, the guy threw it. Mullins threw it. It bounced off his face mask, and he ended up catching it.
Yeah.
Laying on his back.
Quick hands.
Great freaking catch by that. So, so we talked about the Steelers Colts game. Let's talk about the Broncos Lions game. Man, that's another one. What Lions team do you get? Do you get the elite Lions team, or do you get that team that you saw last week?
Well, they better show up because Denver's hungry. They're
and I need them to beat Denver because Denver beat us because of 12 men on the field.
Yeah, that was kind of brutal.
And then we canned our offensive coordinator because we had 12 men on the field. Tell me how that works.
Yeah. That was a tough one. I know I didn't call you for a couple days after that. I was like, I ain't picking up the phone. Not brutal. After that.
That was brutal. Yeah, that was brutal. Ultimately, do you see a fantasy relevance here? I mean, we have the St. Browns and we have the Gibbs and the Montgomerys from that. But from the Broncos side, do you see fantasy relevance in a game like this?
No, Cortland Sutton ought to be relevant because they don't have they've been able to throw on that team. I don't see Javonte doing a whole lot. And Dulwich is out. Is he still on Denver? Yeah. It depends what Wilson you get too. Because he can.
Russ, yeah.
He can throw to anybody, and but yeah, that's about it for fantasy relevance. Of course, you got on the Lions, you've got your two running backs, and you've got St. Brown, and you've got Laporta.
Williams when they decide to use him.
Williams when they use him, and then if you're hurting and you've got Goff, that could be a trouble. I mean, because if he can't hang on to the ball, boy, losing those fumbles, that hacks away at your points.
If you have T. Higgins, you just got about a 40-yard pass. Wow. Just like threw it up and he out-jumped the guy. And they're getting ready. I think they're getting ready to kick a field goal now.
How's Mixon doing?
I'm not sure. I only since I turned the game on, it's only been a bunch of throwing.
I know they're not. They're
Mixon 3 carries, 16 yards. And no catches.
Oh, this is going to be a tough. Well, I don't know why I fall apart in the playoffs.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Once a decade, I get a Super Bowl, but
it's okay. It's all right if you fall apart this year. It's okay as long as I get in and win one for the thumb and I get there first. It's all that matters.
Well, I figure since my draft was so tough, making it to the playoffs was a good deal. So
It was. Randy comes in and says Devonta Smith or Zay Flowers, PPR. Ooh, I love that. I love that. You know what? I'm going Devonta Smith. The Eagles got the Seahawks. Devonta Smith seems to be the guy who's been getting a lot of the catches. So I'd go Devonta Smith over Zay. What about you?
Yeah, I like Devonta. I think they need to get back to him and Swift. You know, let's run it a little bit, throw it to him on the off, you know, and let the other guys be decoys a little bit more. But you know, they've got squeaky wheels, you know, in the Eagles organization, and I'm no telling what they're going to do.
I think,
but I like Devonta over that.
Yeah, I think Devonta has all the upside, the ceiling of Zay Flowers with a higher floor. That's the reason why I like him more. Like, because Devonta has that same explosiveness that Zay has, except, you know, I think the Eagles passing game is better than the Ravens passing game.
Yeah.
You know, but again, Randy, go with your gut, brother. We're just here for what we would do. So let's go back to the Steelers-Colts game. Do you see any fantasy relevance from either of these teams this week?
Well,
like you would think George Pickens could be fantasy relevant, but they just don't throw him the damn ball.
Right. Yeah. And with the way the Steelers are running the ball, you can't rely on one or the other. You know, you got Najee and you got Warren, but they split them so much that they're really killing guys on points. You know.
I honestly, when I look at this game, I look at the defenses as the fantasy relevance. The two defenses. Like, if I was going to start anybody from these two games, I might start Moss, but that Steelers front line is legit. So I would probably go with the two defenses. If I needed the back, I would go with Moss. If I had to start him, and I would start Moss over any of the three backs in this game, over Najee or Warren. If I had to start a wide receiver, I might go Pittman over any of the wide receivers in this game. Who would you go over?
No, that's a good one. I mean, because Pickens is the only one, and you've got Trubisky throwing to him. So,
and then if I had to start a tight end, it would be Freiermuth.
Oh, there you go.
Of this, so you know, I don't love any of those matchups, but it's something to think about. Sure. Randy comes in and says Jerome Ford versus Chicago, Chuba versus Atlanta, or Keaton versus Jax, PPR. Man, I'm thinking Jerome Ford against Chicago. Like, Jerome Ford is just, you know, he gets you that floor every week. I like.
Yeah, I think he's got the best bet. Keaton is like, comes out of nowhere, you know, a couple times a game, but he's not consistent, you know. And he'll get that one long play, whereas Ford, they're going to use him the whole game.
Yeah. By the way, that bomb to T. Higgins I told you about, they called it a drop.
Yeah.
They went down, a bunch of guys went on top of him, so I didn't see it hit the ground, but I guess they called it a drop. So that's not like a 50-yard play. That sucks for T. Higgins owners. That's a big loss. Okay, so let's jump into some other starts that we got. Let's go around quarterbacks. Would you go Russell Wilson or would you go Jared Goff this week?
Man, the way they've been playing, I would go with Wilson. Goff on paper has more weapons, but the way they've been playing, I would go with Wilson.
Would you go Trevor Lawrence or Tua?
Well,
Tua's got the Jets. Lawrence has got Baltimore.
Right.
So it's not a great matchup for either one.
It's not because they both got tough defenses ahead of them. Tua's been a little bit banged up, I think, and there's no telling whether or not Hill's going to play. You know, he wants to, I'm sure, but you know he's been day to day all week, and you know you can't mess with an ankle. But you know that he's going to want to play.
Okay.
So I would go away from.
You go Lawrence.
Or I'd go with Lawrence.
Okay.
Lawrence has more an upside with his legs too.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tua's definitely not running.
Tua's not gonna run
Lizzie
too
Jefferson comes in and asks, George Pickens, Jerry Jeudy, or Jaden Reed? Honestly, I'm loving some Jaden Reed all day right
I
now.
was gonna say, yeah. and Sutton's getting the
the majority of the looks.
Majority looks there, and Pickens,
And
we just went through that.
Deontay's getting the majority of the looks with Pittsburgh.
Right.
I would go Jaden. I love the upside of Pickens if they would ever throw him the damn ball because he's super talented, but they don't throw him the ball. So I'd go Jaden Reed.
Yeah, me too.
All right, last one from a quarterback standpoint: Will Levis or Joe Flacco? Will Levis versus Houston or Flacco versus Chicago?
I'm gonna go with Flacco. He's just
Flacco.
He looks so smooth out there, and who knows what's gonna happen if they hit him really hard. But but he's smooth. He's putting the ball up there. He's getting a hold of Elijah Moore.
Mm-hmm.
That they were on the Jets together, and look what he did last week. I mean, let's see what I got to go with the old guy for a little while anyway. It just
Okay.
makes me feel good to see someone like that out there. That isn't getting killed.
Right. Would you go with ETN or would you go with David Montgomery? ETN versus Baltimore, Montgomery versus Denver.
Boy. I think I'm gonna go with Montgomery. I think
Montgomery?
They just use him so heavily. I mean, it's still a tough they're both going up against tough run defenses, but ETN is hit and miss lately.
Yep.
And Montgomery, they've just been solid with him.
Okay. Would you go with Joe Mixon, who's playing right now, or Breece Hall?
Well, I started Mixon.
Mm-hmm. But you don't have Breece Hall.
And Breece Hall is playing against
Miami.
If he can get loose, he's dangerous when he gets loose in the open field, but he hasn't gotten loose that many times. I'm gonna go with Mixon, and hope he comes through. It's tough to say that because first of all, you can't start him now because he's already started.
Yeah.
No.
But if which one did you like better? Is what I was.
I would have gone with Mixon because they've been using him heavily lately, and he's been good for a couple touchdowns a week. Not a ton of yards, but
not doing much today so far. But we'll see what they do in the second half.
Right.
Would you go with DeAndre Swift or James Cook?
Well, if they use him, I would go with Swift, but Cook they finally got a hang of him, and they're using him a lot. So I think I would go with Cook this week because it just seems like they're finally using him the way they're supposed to. Little outlet passes, and not trying to just run him into the line every time. So
last one from a running back standpoint, would you go with Antonio Gibson or Kenneth Walker III? Walker's got Philly, Gibson's got the Rams.
Let's see. God. Well, you know what? I think maybe I would go with Gibson against the Rams instead of Philly. Plus, with Robinson out, he's gonna get a lot more carries.
Okay.
He's not gonna get a lot of points for you. And I don't think either one of them are going to score a lot of points. But if you've got to, Gibson's going to be probably the go-to guy.
Okay. All right. Would you go Puka Nacua or Mike Evans?
Puka.
You know Puka?
Puka. I think
you love your Puka.
Well, I think all the Rams receivers are in play this week.
Okay. Would you go D-Hop or Garrett Wilson?
I think Garrett Wilson's got a shot at catching a few. I mean, Miami's defense isn't that tough.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the other guy?
D-Hop.
D-Hop, yeah. D-Hop's been hot and cold. I mean, he'll either be on or invisible.
Okay. Waddle or Rashee Rice?
Oh, that's well, Rice is the number one over there.
Well,
and
Kelsey's the number one, but yeah.
Well,
I know what you're saying.
But Waddle, it depends. This is really dependent on how
Tyreek.
I would keep an eye on the
game day inactives.
The game day inactives because he'll sit there and I'm ready. He'll be running in place and everything. But you can't play against that kind of pain with an ankle. I don't care how tough you are. So I would keep an eye on it because if Hill's not in, Waddle's the guy.
Yeah. So if Hill's not in, you go with Waddle over Rice. If Hill is in, you go Rice over Waddle.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Zay Flowers or Amari Cooper?
I like Cooper lately.
I do too.
He's catching the ball again. He looks confident.
Well, they have a quarterback that's getting him the ball.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Joe Flacco, but he's throwing the ball to him and giving him an opportunity, which is what you want.
I probably should have started him instead of Mixon, but there you go again.
Last one for the wide receivers. Would you go Drake London or Terry McLaurin?
London has been pretty
Coming
efficient lately. He's been coming on, and McLaurin's been popping up some goose eggs. Yeah, I think I would go with London. I mean, earlier in the season, I would have shied away from him. I would have said, hell no. But he's been coming on real nice lately.
All right, here's I lied to you. I'm going to give you one more. It's the battle of the backups. Would you go Braden Cooks at Buffalo or Romeo Doubs against Tampa Bay?
Cooks is... God, did I see him on the injury report?
Yes, he was illness.
Yeah. Or Dobbs. Boy, I tell you, last game, Love couldn't hit a barn from 10 feet away. I mean, I know that because I started him and got killed. So I mean, if Love was on, Dobbs would be a good pick, but I'm going to go away from him.
Okay. So you'll go. Okay.
Yeah.
Tight ends. We'll do the last little bit on tight ends. Would you go Ferguson against Buffalo or Ingram against Baltimore?
Ferguson's just been. I mean, he's been getting the lion's share of the catches in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Lamb's been doing so well and getting all the press, Ferguson's the one who's getting all the catches.
He's getting all the first down catches. He's the old He's the old Jason Witten.
Yeah, I would go with him.
Okay.
In this case.
Okay, would you go McBride or Njoku?
Njoku.
Right.
Njoku, he's confident. They like throwing to him. And McBride is as good as he is. They got the Niners this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's Njoku's an easy pick for me.
Isaiah Likely or Dalton Kincaid?
They've been using Likely a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go with Likely. Kincaid's got Knox back, right? So they're doing the double dip there.
Not only that, but they stopped running him deep on any routes. Like last week, he had 5 catches for 21 yards.
Well, they're pulling that offense in better now. I mean, I think the Bills are doing a lot better, but they needed to bring Kincaid in closer and quit going for the long ball with him. They got to quit going for all this YOLO stuff.
Well, they don't. They haven't done a lot of YOLO stuff in the last 5 weeks.
Couple of weeks. But I mean, I would go with Njoku.
Okay. Last one for the tight ends: Kmet or Pitts.
Boy, well, in Chicago, all they got is DJ and Kmet. Kmet didn't do all that well last week because I started him in a league that he didn't, help me in. And Pitts, God, Pitts was murdered earlier in the season, kind of like London was, but he's been coming on a little bit. I'm going to go with Pitts mainly because they are really involved in the playoff race. So yeah.
All right, so this is going to be a flex. It's a pick 3. Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, Derrick Henry. Who you starting? 2 and 3.
Evans and Diggs.
You're going Evans and Diggs and sitting Derrick?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like me.
That's my conundrum in my team.
he's like me. He's getting old.
It happens. Okay, that's our sit start. We'll go to X Factors and Howie's Hot Pepper Challenge. Howie's Hot Pepper Challenge last week, he had Hyatt for 5 catches and 80 yards and touchdown. He had 2 catches, 13 yards. Epic fail.
Oh,
So
God.
before you eat your pepper, we will get you this week's Howie's Hot Pepper Challenge. Who is it?
Let's see. I got to get somebody off of Steve's team. Who's he got? Who's he? He's got
Karen Williams. That's who's been riding.
Yeah, let's go with Karen Williams. Let's say 75 yards scrimmage and a touchdown.
75 yards and a TD. All right.
Hopefully the curse will continue, and that will get me into the second round. But we'll see.
And then from a X Factor last week, you had DJ Moore. I had Gibbs. You won. It was close, but you ended up winning. So who is your X Factor this week?
My X Factor. I'm gonna go with Mostert.
You know, Mostert. You know Mostert's questionable, right?
Okay, then I'm not gonna go with Mostert.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with shit. You go first, and I'll see what
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Amon-Ra St. Brown this week.
Oh. Well,
I have a
hope
feeling
he
he's gonna
does.
bounce back.
That's a good one. I'm gonna go with Sam Laporta.
Oh, same game.
Make it easy.
Who's gonna be better?
And it's today.
I almost went Debo.
Oh, Debo is he's a Swiss Army. knife if
My
there ever
only
was one.
issue with going with Debo would have been back-to-back weeks that he just took off, and I just don't trust him like that. So all right, Howie, it's a hot pepper time. Oh, yummy.
Oh, it's a freaking hot one, man.
Hot pepper time. How's that holding up? You're doing all right. Like a couple of weeks ago, you had one where your eyes instantly started watering.
Last week I touched my eye.
I remember that. I came down and you touched your eye, and that was bad. That was all bad.
Yeah, that wasn't terrible. It's going to stay with me most of the day, but
okay. Any final comments, Howie, before we log off here and get to football?
Well, oh shit! No, I'm done. My mouth is—I can't even talk.
All right, so we'll be back next week, next Saturday, same time, 2:00 Eastern Time, 11 Pacific. For Howie, I'm Mikey, and we'll see you next week.